What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to review some games. Well, we're going to review a game, but over the next couple of days we're going to review a couple of more games. So, we're going to start reviewing games on here. Turns out that I've gotten to that point where I can request review copies from games, from companies, and then I get to review games, and it's so much fun. So the lovely folks over at Brain Games have sent me a couple of games, and the first one we're going to be reviewing is Pigasus. Now, this game's kind of fun and kind of weird, but the first thing to point out about Pigasus, in terms of the components, it's got like phenomenal components. Now, there's not a huge amount to it. What we have is a stack of cards with phenomenal artwork and a pig. It oinks. Which is in fact a Pigasus. Half pig, half Pegasus, all Pigasus. Big, rubber, plastic, oinking pig. It's kind of cool and kind of weird, and I love it. And then we have just a whole bunch of cards. And these cards are absolutely wonderful, and the artwork is phenomenal, and I love it. Now, what we essentially have is pairs of animals. Now, but it's a little bit weird. So that is a pig that looks like an elephant, whereas that is an elephant that looks like a pig. And that really is at the heart of the game. Now, I've picked a couple other pairs out here. We've got a crocodile that looks like a gorilla, and a gorilla that looks like a crocodile. We've got a shark, an elephant that looks like a shark, and then a shark that looks like an elephant. Did I pick out any more? Yes, I did. I picked out one more pair. We've got a snail that looks like an elephant, and an elephant that looks like a snail. Not a slug, although the non-snail animals, the other animals that have been made to look like snails, don't get shells, so they end up looking like slugs, but I assure you they are snails. And that is basically at the heart of this game. Animals mixed together. If you look at the back of the card here, you see that you've got the Pigasus in the middle, and then we've got a shark and a pelican, and between them, the two ways in which you can mix a shark and a pelican. We've got a giraffe and a gorilla, and the two ways that you can mix a giraffe and a gorilla. And that is basically what the game is about. It's kind of like Snap. It very much is rooted in Snap. What you do is you've got one player who acts as the dealer, and then what that player does is they reveal cards one by one so that everyone can see, until a pair of animals is revealed. But when I say pair of animals, I mean like the pairs that I've laid out on the board here. What we've got is, we're not looking for two snail elephants, we're looking for a snail elephant and an elephant snail. And then, when you see them, you grab the Pigasus, you oink the Pigasus, you get the cards. And you get those two cards. Now, the rulebook is very, very small, very, very simple, very, very easy. That's the entire rulebook. Now, you can play in teams, and it's just like playing as an individual. And really, the only other rule is that if you do end up doing a wrong grab, that is, you grab a pair and they're actually not a pair, you have to put back cards equal to the number of players. So if you've won 4 rounds, you should have 8 cards. And if you go for a wrong grab, and there are 5 players, you put back 5 of the 8 cards. Now, obviously that means if you don't have any cards, then wrong grabs don't really hurt you, like at all. You can be a little bit more brazen as you go for it. Though you could always institute a house rule whereby you can go into minuses. Cool. And I am just going to have to interrupt my own video for just a moment to let you know that the lovely folks at Brain Games have given me a brand new copy of Pigasus to give to one of you lovely ladies and gentlemen. All I need you to do is pop a comment down below, tell me which two animals you want to combine and why They would make such a good combination. And I'm going to pick my favourite answer, and I'm going to send them a copy of Pigasus. Do make sure you got notifications turned on, because I'm going to let you know the winner by replying to the comment. So please make sure I can get in touch with you, or I'll have to pick someone else, and that will be sad. So yeah, drop a comment down below and tell me which two animals you want to combine and why. Okay, we can go back to the video now. Now, in terms of the game as a whole, it is exceedingly simple. Getting to grips with the game is not a difficult proposition. All you need to do is get your head around these pairs. And that's the real challenge in the game. The challenge in the game is get your head around the pairs. Because these do not look like a pair initially. Pig, elephant, elephant, pig. You've got to kind of learn to think about it in that way. Now, the company is actually called Brain Games, and you'll notice that if we have a look at the age here, we're looking 7+. Now, I'll be honest with you, I played with my lovely niece, and my niece is soon gonna be 7, not quite 7. She didn't get it. I suspect 7+ is slightly optimistic. I think you're looking at slightly older children than 7+. Certainly I played with my wife and sister, and we enjoyed it, and we got to grips with it, although I'll be honest with you, my wife destroyed me at this game. She was so much better at this than I am. I don't know, maybe she just sees the animals more easily than me. I was not good at this game. But it is simple, and it is easy to get to grips with, and children, I find it takes a little bit to get them used to it, but they're also going to be a bit slower. So if you're playing this with adults and children, the adults are going to win, unless you let the children win. And I've always found that the best games to play with children are the games where you don't have to let them win. And I think with this, for a lot of adults, they are going to be faster than the kids with this. And that could present slight problems. I think if you get a group of kids, maybe around 10-ish, I think that's probably the sweet spot. Because the problem is that if you play this with adults, it's just a little bit childish. And it's a little bit simple. And you're going to have some fun guessing the animals. And the first time you see the pairs, it's great. The first time these pairs come out, you're like, ha, they look so cool. But that wears off. And the other thing is, although you get a decent stack of cards, there are only so many pairs in the game. And when you're out of pairs, there's not that much to see. And at that point, the game really changes. Because then it becomes more like a memory game, because now, the first time I see these two, it's a bit mind-bending. But I've seen them. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen all these cards now. So now when I play the game, it's going to be way, way easier for me. And there is that point at which the game changes. Because as far as I'm concerned, the best time to play this game is when you've seen none of these cards. When all these cards are completely and utterly new. Because you've got the, it's an elephant that looks like a shark. But that wears off. And then it just becomes, oh, I've seen these, I know what they look like, I can figure them out. And I think at that stage the game loses a little bit of its charm. So, I like the game. The game is fun. But I don't know who it's exactly aimed at. It says 7+, but I think 7 is a little bit too young. But if you get too old, you're playing with a bunch of adults who will enjoy the illustrations, but not in the same way that children will. But it wears off fairly quickly. I think there is a sweet spot, which I think we're looking at kind of 9 to 12. Because you know that above that, kids are going to be too cool for a game like this. And I speak as a man who has nieces of 6 and 4, but also a brother and sister who are 18 and 15. So over the last few years, I've run the whole gamut of having children around and playing games with them. And unfortunately, when I spoke to my 15-year-old brother about playing this game, he was not in the mood for it. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, he politely declined. He can be polite occasionally, not all that often, but he gets his moments. You need to find the right group, and I think the right group for this is narrow. It's a bit young for adults, and it can be very confusing for children, but I think there is that sweet spot of like 9 to 12 where kids are going to absolutely love it. The components are phenomenal, and I love them, but I think it's one of those games where you're not going to be playing it evening after evening after evening. I think you'll get a few kind of 6 to 10 really fun games, and then the cards are coming back round again, and you've seen them all a bit too much, and at that point... And put it this way, Cards Against Humanity. Who's played Cards Against Humanity? I'm assuming a lot of you. Who enjoyed game number 10? Or had you seen most of the jokes by that point? That's where I'm going with this. I'm going to give this game a solid 3 Wossies. It's not a phenomenal game. It's a fun game with phenomenal components, with a very narrow group of people who are going to enjoy it, and I think a fairly limited shelf life in terms of playing it. But if nothing else, it's worth it for the illustrations alone. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I think about Pigasus. Have you played it? If you have, let me know in the comment section. Tell me what you think about it. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about all kinds of games. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.